LocalBozo.com is proud to have with us as our guest for an exclusive interview, Olympic Gold Medalist, WWE and TNA Champion, and featured in the movie Warrior, released September 9th, Kurt Angle. Kurt, thanks so much for giving us a couple minutes today.
Thanks for having me on.
Kurt, for a guy who's done pretty much everything that there is to be done in the worlds of amateur and professional wrestling, can you talk a little bit about how you were selected to play Koba, the invincible Russian MMA fighter in Warrior?
Yes, I was actually home in Pittsburgh, and they were shooting the movie there, and I had a friend of mine that owns a fight club called the Pittsburgh Fight Club. His name was Eric Hibbler, and he kept calling me because Warrior, the movie in Lionsgate, they were looking for a character named Koba, and they interviewed about 25 Russian fighters, interviewed another 20 athletes, actors, looking for the right part, the right look, and everything that went with it, and they were stumped. They couldn't find the character, and my friend asked he asked me to come down, and I said, well, I'm on the road, man. I'm wrestling. I'm never home. I can't do the movie, so I blew it off for a week, and I came home again, and he asked me to come down, so I said, all right, I'll come down. So I went down, and I started sparring and showing my MMA skills, throwing some punches and doing some takedowns, doing a little jiu-jitsu submission. And the director, Gavin O'Connor, walked up to me and he asked me how much I weighed, and I said 230. He said, well, can you lose about 30 pounds? And I said, yeah, I can lose 30 pounds. And he said, could you stop tanning for a couple months? And I said, yes, sir. He said, do you have any tattoos on your body? And apparently, when I looked at my own body, I had a short-sleeve shirt on, shorts. There weren't any tattoos showing, so I said, no, I don't, even though I was lying because I have a tattoo on my back, and thank God they covered it up. But he was looking for a Russian without tattoos. What he was looking for basically was somebody that could portray the Russian fighter Fedor Emelianenko. So they said, you're going to be Koba. And I was really honored. They had a great speaking role for me. I had to learn Russian dialect. I had to speak Russian. The disappointing thing was when they edited the movie, they wanted Koba not to say a word. At the end of the day, they decided to take my speaking roles out, and I was a little disappointed. But you know, if it helps the movie, and they wanted Koba to be quiet and not say anything, I was fine. I was just happy to be a part of it. It was a very, very good role, thank God, and it's just going to help my movie career. So I was very happy to be a part of it, and the movie was so incredible. I got to watch it at Camp Pendleton at Comic-Con in front of some great Marines and their families, and seeing the Marines cry and watch this movie and know that in the movie there was a Marine that was represented who Tom Hardy played, and it was one of the best movies I've seen in 15 years, to be honest with you. I couldn't believe the outcome of the film.
You know, what's great about the film is that it seems to really encompass the spirit of so many of the fighting and boxing movies we've seen over the last 2 decades. What is it about Warrior specifically that you think will make it so relatable to audiences?
Because it's real to MMA. You have a lot of MMA fans. Even if you're not an MMA fan, if you watch the movie, you say, wow, the fighting scenes were very real. It wasn't like, I'm not going to mention any movies, but there are a lot of movies out there where the guy is just getting annihilated. The referee would have stepped in 30 seconds prior and stopped the fight. This movie was very true to MMA. There wasn't anything exaggerated. The only thing that I might say was a little bit over the top is when, when Joel broke Tom's arm at the end, but Tom kept fighting with one arm. But even so, it helped the movie. That's the only thing I could say that might have been a little bit edgy, but it really did help the movie in the end. To see this guy that just wouldn't quit. There was a Marine that just wouldn't quit fighting, even with his arm broken. That was a really cool scene. But it was very true to MMA. All those fighters were real fighters. The actors did an incredible job at learning. They trained 3 months. Everybody had to train. We had to do a 3-month MMA training camp, and everybody had to be present. And there was a lot of camaraderie, and we got to know each other, and we went through the moves, and everybody had to do their training. And thank God it worked out for the best.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the fighting scenes in the film were incredibly realistic. In fact, we screened the film and the movie audience exploded at every big move or tap out. Can you describe what it was like filming the fighting scene specifically for you and what it was like to work on a big budget film like this?
I was honored. I know the Lionsgate representatives wanted to see me one day, but I was fighting the whole day and doing my scenes, and I didn't get the honor of meeting them. But it was fun. I had a blast. Getting in the ring in the octagon with a lot of these fighters, especially the actor Joel Edgerton. The funny thing is he was a little bit terrified of me. Me being a lot bigger and having the background I have, Joe had a knee injury during the movie, God bless him, and he worked through it. I believe he took 2 or 3 weeks off, but he had an MCL injury, his ligament, and it was very sensitive, and he did an incredible, awesome job at finishing the movie. He was very concerned for his knee. And I was killing his stunt double, and he came in and said, "Mr. Angle, could you not kill me like that? Could you take a little more easier on me than a lot easier on me than you did with my stunt double?" I said, "Of course." I said, "Joel, I'll take care of you. I'm in pro wrestling. Our number one thing," and I reassured him, is safety first. I said, "Don't worry. I'll take it out on your stunt double, but on you, I'll take care of you."
Kurt, LocalBozo.com is based out of New York, where MMA is basically still illegal. As a big proponent of the Octagon, how important is legalizing MMA in New York City to grow the sport?
I just think it's a mainstream sport. It doesn't make any sense that here is a sport that could generate a lot of revenue for that state, God willing. I am a big fan of MMA. I've dabbled in it many times. I've put my name in there. Almost switched from pro wrestling to MMA. I can honestly tell you that if New York doesn't do it, they're going to miss the boat on a lot of money that can generate for the state of New York in general. I don't know where they are in a position right now, but if they sat down and did the numbers and seen that it is, honestly, relatively safe as far as any other sport. I mean, God forbid, thank God there hasn't been a death yet. That does show some promise that it will get legalized eventually, God willing, someday. I know it just did in Pennsylvania, which I'm very happy and proud because, now I can go see fights in my own town, in my own city, in Pittsburgh. So I just think it's a matter of time. MMA is flourishing. I believe that it's at its peak, and it'll continue to peak for quite some time. And as long as Dana White keeps doing what he's doing with the UFC and with Strikeforce, God willing, the sky's the limit with MMA and UFC and whatever other company, Bellator fighting. I believe they're going to do incredibly well. God bless them. I'm always for any fight, for any fight company, and I believe they have a lot of ability to have some great fighters. So there's a lot of promise going on, and I think New York is just a matter of time.
In some recent interviews, you've stated that you're interested in entering the MMA world and have talked a little bit about returning to your roots for another run at the Olympics in wrestling. Where does Kurt Angle stand today on these fronts?
Doing the movie Warrior is what sparked my interest in going back to the Olympics. I realized that I still have the ability to do it. The reason that I haven't dabbled or haven't gotten into MMA is because I couldn't come to terms. And what I mean by terms is my terms. Starting times, a certain amount of money, making sure that I'm prepared and that I'm healthy to go in there and do it the right way rather than hurry up and get in there. And I'm not going to name any names or anything because I respect everybody in MMA, especially Dana White. I love him to death. He's a great friend of mine. God bless him. But the Olympics are under my terms, and that's what sparked my interest, was doing the movie Warrior. And obviously I want to be an actor, but I have this competitive streak in me that wants to do it again. I want to go to the Olympics, and I want to prove myself all over again. And I didn't know that I would be this good, this old. So, I'll be 43 next year. I'll be the oldest Olympic team member in wrestling history if I make it, God willing. So I'm expecting to do that, and I have a long road ahead of me, and I have a lot of great opponents like Jake Varner from Iowa State. He's an incredible wrestler, and he's the guy to beat in my weight class.
All right, Kurt, we don't want to keep you too long. We appreciate the time today. What's next for Kurt Angle, the actor?
Well, it's just to build a resume. I believe right now I need to take bigger movies, smaller roles. I did a few independent films just to get the practice. I've done 3 bigger budget movies. I am reading for movies right now. I have movies that I'm getting ready to do that have been pushed back due to time differences, money issues. So it's just a matter of time before I get these roles. It's just, to me, the more I do it, the more practice I get it. You know, you can take acting classes all you want, but when it comes down to acting, it's being in it. It's being in the movies. It's being in the game itself and getting the experience while you're doing it. Pro wrestling helps me as far as getting in front of a character, getting in front of a camera and being a character and doing what you have to do. So that has helped me tremendously. But when it comes down to it, it really comes down to getting on the field and playing the game and doing the movie, doing as many movies as you can to get better.
Awesome, Kurt. Well, thank you so much for a couple minutes today. It's really been an honor and a privilege for us to speak with you. Fans, make sure to trek it out to theaters everywhere on Friday, September 9th and catch Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle as the Russian monster Koba in Warrior, a mixed martial arts film which also stars Nick Nolte and Tom Hardy. You can also catch Kurt Angle on Impact Wrestling every Thursday night at 9 on Spike TV. Kurt Angle, thanks so much for a couple minutes today from localbozo.com, and best of luck in 2011.
Thank you very much. Take care.